Good morning. Hey, welcome to our final episode in our series titled Hearing the Voice of God. Man, this has been a great 2-week study. I got a lot out of it. I'm sure y'all have too. I've had some of you reach out to me and tell me what the Lord was speaking to you, so it's been a blessing. I've really enjoyed it. I'm glad y'all have too. As you can tell, I'm out in the garage today. It's Saturday, bringing y'all this last and final episode. Plan on doing a lot of work out here. You don't see all the other stuff on the other side of the garage. But this series is ending with a very interesting subject matter. One that I didn't expect. I really didn't expect it. So we're going to get to that, but first I want to do a little recap, okay? I'm going to go back in my notes. We're going to recap really quick. We started out on this message about, are you focused on God? Are you blocking out all the distractions? How deep do your roots go with God? Are they really shallow or are they deep? Are you growing your roots? Are you focused on worry and riches and pleasure? Excuse me, coffee's a little strong this morning. And then we move into your attitude. Are you listening to God? Are you going to God, or are you waiting for God to come to you? These are key things. We finished it up here recently with, are you making your appointments with God? Are you going to God in a quiet place at a set time and spending that time with the Lord? And are you directly asking Him these questions? Are you praying to God for visual or verbal answers? Whichever way you think. And that brings us to our last point. And I'm just going to straight ask you, do you journal your prayers and God's answers? Because I don't. That's something I've never done. Now, recently, in doing these daily drink ministry videos, I did go pick up a journal. And I did start writing in it. See, I wrote in it. I did start writing in it notes and when the Lord spoke to me and phrases and things of this nature from my daily drink studies. And I've got a lot out of just doing this, okay? What I haven't done and what I'm telling you to do is to write down your prayers. Literally. No, you don't have to pray them out loud. Surprisingly enough, God hears your thoughts. You can pray silently, write those prayers down, and then when God answers them with a vision or with words, you can write those down as well. And then you have a reference point. And you're like, what do I need a reference point for? God done gave me the answer. I want you to turn to the book of Habakkuk. And I'm probably saying that wrong. Habakkuk is one of the last books in the Old Testament. It's a very short book, 3 chapters. And in chapter 2, hold on. Habakkuk, interesting thing about Habakkuk, and I didn't realize it until I was doing this study today. I mean, I read it, but it just, okay, whatever. Habakkuk is nothing more than the prophet Habakkuk writing down his prayers and then writing down God's responses. There's a book in the Bible of the prophet Habakkuk's journal. You want to know what else is that way? The book of Psalms. The book of Psalms is David's prayers as he was reading over the Torah at the time, the first 4 books of the Old Testament. He would write down his thoughts and his prayers, and then towards the end of each chapter in the book of Psalms would be God's reply and answer. That put a whole new spin on the book of Psalms when you read through it, won't it? But chapter 2, verse 2 says this. Why do you need to write these down? It says this. It says, the Lord said to me, write my answer plainly on tablets so that a runner can carry the correct message to others. The reason you need to write your answers to your prayers and your answers down is so that you can go back and quickly reference them. You don't have to memorize them. You can reference what God told you and keep it clear and focused. Have a clear, focused definition of what God told you to do, of God's answer to your prayer. And you can go back to that and you can take that message to other people and it not change. We as humans can change things in our mind. You ever done the 20-person circle? You put 20 people in a circle and you whisper to the first person and they whisper to the next person, and by the time it gets to the last person, it's totally different. By writing your answers, your prayers and your answers down, God's message will stay clear person to person to person, because you're carrying the same message. And that is very key. Now, some people might say, well, Pastor Burns, I don't really do a diary thing. This ain't a diary. This is a journal, okay? A diary is where you write down things that you did, okay? It's a recollection of things that have happened. A journal is where you're writing down lessons that you have learned. You get that? What you were struggling with, what happened, how you dealt with it, and then what you learned from that situation. That's a journal. They're different. I'm probably going to start doing this if I can work on it. It takes some practice. Your first couple entries are probably going to be, I said this, God said that, done. By the time it starts evolving, you'll probably start adding more detail to it, and that's okay, and that's great. So, to close out hearing the voice of God, start journaling. Write down your prayers, write down God's answers, and stay focused. That's my daily drink for today. Y'all be blessed. We'll see you next week.